I'm really sure you would have used or heard the term curl, and it is highly likely that we have used it somewhere, even without realizing. In fact, several installation scripts that you would have used were actually run via curl. Well, today we are going to see how far we can go with just curl. It was first released in 1996 and was originally called as HTTP-GET before finally adapting the name curl, that is client for URL. Curl supports multiple protocols. It can send and receive requests, files, and notifications. It can tunnel traffic through proxies. It runs on phones, tablet, medical devices with over 20 billion installations worldwide. Curl is powered by something called as libcurl, but most importantly, it builds and runs identically on all platforms. And here's the crazy part. Curl is estimated to have over 1 billion users, or as they just put it, curl is used daily by virtually every internet using human on the planet Earth. So with that said, with this context set, let's see what actually we can do with curl. Alright, so curl.se is the official documentation for curl, and this is going to be our one-stop solution for all our curl needs. Now this page over here lists all the different protocols that curl can support, what proxies it can support, the kind of transfers can do, the FTP file transfer, all those kind of things, and everything else about authentication, about connection, about the transfers, everything is written over here. Now there's a free ebook that they are offering. If you are really curious about curl, you can give it a shot, go through the ebook. I have gone through it and it is really very awesome. Alright, now because this curl is open source, we can all see the code for it on GitHub. Now this is the official repo for curl on GitHub. You can have a look, you can clone this repo, go through the code, but if you're a little more curious, I would say you could go to the Insights tab, go to contributors, and you would be surprised to see that it has got contributions even from December of 1990. Now that is at least 5 years even before the GitHub came into existence, even before GitHub was conceived and it was gifted to the world. So I'm not really sure how they are tracking it, but yes, it has got comments from then also. This very repo has been forked 7,000 times. Can you believe it? However, in order to show you what curl can actually do, we need a few APIs, we need to send a few requests at a few places. For that reason, I'm going to use this tool called HTTP bun. It helps us to test the behavior of HTTP clients. We can write a get request, a post request, a put request, and then also even perform an OAuth request using HTTP bun. So I'll be using this, and then there is another interesting project, the no service. Now this service, every time you make a request to it, it has got a unique reason just to say no to it. So if I say no over here again, you would see that the reason would be something else. Now we'll explore all of this as we move forward with the video. Alright, so just stay tight and we'll get there. So a simple curl request to example.com gets you the entire HTML page exactly like a web browser, but return a text over here. But if you could add a -o to it and a file name and then hit enter, you would see that the example.com has been downloaded as test.html, and this test.html is now downloaded on my drive. And if I try to run it, you would see that the example.com has been downloaded and is running as a local file on my machine. As you can imagine, that is sometimes more relevant to download the file itself or the web page itself. Next, if you could curl to this request over here, you would see that you would get the response more like a JSON, which is sometimes even more meaningful to read. But as curl evolved, you could also do a -- get and get the same response. Now, if you want to have a look at the HTTP status code, the headers, and the response, you could do a -i and you would get the status code, several headers, and then you would also get the response. But if you're not interested in the actual response and just want to have a look at the headers, then just change small I to capital I and you will get everything, all the headers but the response. If that's what you are interested in, maybe for some scripting. And if you want to go all in, you could just change -i to -v, where V stands for verbosity, and you would get everything now. You would get the server hops and also some handshake and also all the time differences, like when the request started and when actually the request hit the code. Or you could also do --head to just get the header. Now sometimes you might find 301 moved permanently or some kind of redirect. In that case, you could ask curl to follow it by just adding --location to your URL, and then it is going to follow it along and give you all the server hops and then finally give you a satisfactory response that can tell you what actually happened. Now curl does a great job when it comes to downloading. Just add a -o before the file or the URL that you want to download and hit enter. And you would see that within no time, we have got the SVG file that we wanted to download. The -o uses the remote name to download the file, and so it is saved with the same name as it was on the remote server. Now we could also do some post request to curl, but I found it a little annoying because I had to write it all by myself. You will have to specify the content type, which is application JSON over here, and some data to your post request, which over here is nothing but the name and some random skill, which is again Harshit Dynamite. And please subscribe if you are liking this content so far. And then the post endpoint to it. And once I hit enter, you would see that I get the headers, I get the method, I also get the form, the data, and everything is so much raw. But I could then pipe it with JQ, and then I would see a little color coding over there. The data of course is still the same, but yes, it is formatted correctly, and JQ does works well with curl. So one gets the data for you, and the other thing, the JQ parses the data and queries the data for you. Also, if I go a little further and let's say I just want the headers, I could do this and I would get just the headers over here. But can I get a nested item inside this header? Oh yes, I can. I could just do, let's say if I wanted user agent, I could just get the user agent over here. So if you were writing an automation script and then quickly wanted a particular nested response out of a huge object, you can very easily do it with the curl. No other dependencies you would be requiring. You can just do it straight out of your browser using the curl. Remember that -o that we tried to download the file? What if there is a huge file and you started the download, but the download interrupted somewhere in between, and then now you want to resume your download from? So can curl do this? Oh yes, it can. Just add a -c and a hyphen after that and just hit enter, and you will see that it is now resuming the transfer from the lost position. Alright, now can you download multiple files using curl? Oh yes, we can do that also. For that, what you have to do is just add a -o between the two files that you want to download and add a -z-o before the file name and hit enter, and you would see that we have now downloaded two files simultaneously on our machine. You see, both of them have just downloaded at the very same instant. But what if there is a bunch of files? Can curl download files in parallel? Oh yes, it can. And let's say if we had some 10 files which could be serialized, their names could be serialized in some way as over here, can curl actually do this bunch download in parallel? Oh yes, it can. Let's see that in action. And all of them have downloaded, and now if you see that all these files have been downloaded at the very same instant. Now you could also check what curl version your machine has got. Now, because most machines already have curl installed on them, you would see that there is a curl version on your machines, but for older machines this date might be quite in the past. That depends on what time or when was your machine last updated. Now you could also look at all the beautiful protocols that curl is offering to us, and that gives us immense possibilities on what kind of things we can do with curl. Also, now you could do something as simple as curl if config.me to figure out what is your public IP address. This is useful but can be done from the browser. What cannot be done from the browser is figuring out the exact location of a tiny URL. I've got this link over here, and over here I've added this link to curl with a flag SIL, and then I'm trying to grep the location of it. And now once I hit enter, I would get the full location of the tiny URL that I had. Let's say if you had a bit.ly link to something, so you would again run this command, but you would change this URL to be of that of a bit.ly link, and then now when you hit enter, you would get the exact location of this bit.ly link before you click it. So next time you get a suspicious TM with a short URL into it, before you actually hit the URL on the browser, try running it through curl to not become a victim of cyber fraud. Well, you could also get some information which you wouldn't normally think is terminal related, and for that you could just do curl http wttr, and with this you would get some beautiful weather forecasting right into your terminal, all just by using curl. Now this wttr is a fabulous web service which has got a few text-based endpoints using which you can actually get some weather forecast of your favorite cities. Now if you have been following along, you would have seen that curl supports several other protocols, one of them being dictionary and telnet. Now let's look at a very quick example on how we can actually use this curl protocol. Now this is an old protocol, and you could just directly use it using this dict keyword over here, and then this dict.org, which is actually a website, and they have not really changed any UI of it, so it looks to be from quite the past. But yes, if you use it this way and then pass in the word that that you want to find the meaning for, and then just hit enter, you would find all the possible definitions or all the possible meanings of the word computer in the dictionary. So if you wanted to look for a word and find its meaning, you could do it directly from your terminal. Now you could also use telnet, and for that you just have to hit curl-v telnet a URL with a URL and then the port number, and it was able to resolve the name for that telnet server, and then now it is connected and listening on port number 8. But the next one is even more interesting. MQTT, the pub sub protocol that everybody is talking about, Facebook Messenger, Instagram DMs, everywhere this new protocol is being used now. So curl also speaks MQTT. Now if I hit this over here, I would see that my MQTT publisher is listening or is publishing messages to demo/hello. So my MQTT publisher is publishing messages on demo/hello topic, and in MQTT terms, my publisher can listen to messages on this topic, and it can also publish messages on this demo/hello topic, and by default it runs on 1883 port. Now I'm going to open a terminal and let me clear this session, and now if I send this message, I should be able to get it on my publisher window. Let me do it one more time, and yes, I can get the messages on my publisher really quick, which is actually running using just a simple curl command. Well, wait, I think I'm not done yet. What if we want to proxy our request through a proxy server? Well, check this out, maninthemiddle proxy, and now let me open another terminal, and now if I send this request, proxy running on the curl will be able to catch that, and here's the request we get. I think that's enough of curl for one video. There are several more things we could do out of it, and it won't be possible to cover everything in just one video. However, what I could relate or what I could realize from this expedition on curl was that frameworks can come and go, tools will get rewritten, APIs will change, but curl is going to be there powering the internet. And now that we know what it is capable of, next time something breaks in production, we would know where to start, right? On this note, let's end this video, and I'll see you in the next one.